The San Luis Rey Watershed Council wants to help you learn how to install a rain garden at your home. Building a rain garden to capture rainwater is a great way to provide extra water for your yard and to reduce the amount of polluted stormwater that ends up in our creeks and rivers. In this video, you'll learn why it's important to install a rain garden, what to consider when you design your system, a step-by-step guide on how to install, and maintenance tasks to keep your system working smoothly. So, what exactly is a rain garden and rainwater harvesting? Rain gardens are usually flat-bottom basins that are at least 6 to 12 inches deep. They're backfilled with materials that promote good drainage like gravel, compost, and mulch, allowing the basin to hold water and slowly infiltrate it into the ground. Rain gardens are then planted with various low-water plants that don't mind occasionally getting their roots wet. Rain gardens come in all different shapes and sizes, but most often they're long ovals or kidney-shaped. It just depends on how you can make it fit in with your existing landscaping. Engineers in the 1970s and 1980s looked at rain and stormwater as a problem they needed to address as quickly as possible to prevent flooding. So they built many concrete-lined channels to move this water away from homes and out into creeks and oceans. However, this caused new problems. Water in the stormwater drains had pollutants like fertilizer and pesticides from yards, and motor oil and brake fluids from roads. And because it isn't treated, these pollutants go straight into our creeks and finally into our ocean. Our community is now starting to recognize what a valuable resource stormwater can be, especially if we can catch it, slow down the water, spread it out where it falls, and allow it to infiltrate back into our groundwater before it gets polluted. The soil is the best way to clean the water before it enters rivers and creeks. This is nature's way of filtering the water and decreasing pollution in our waterways. If we can imitate nature, we can reverse some of the problems that we've caused by paving over everything. One way we can all do this at home is to build a rain garden. A properly designed rain garden can capture 30% more rainwater than grass can. Rain gardens are usually designed to hold the first inch of rain during a storm, which is usually responsible for the bulk of pollutants that enter our waterways. These gardens store the water, allowing it to soak into the ground, naturally filtering out the pollutants. Along with helping to reduce storm drain pollution to keep our oceans safe and clean to swim in, there are many more reasons why rain gardens are so great to have. Here are a few. 1. There's less imported water used for your yard irrigation, which saves you money and saves water resources for the community. 2. It helps increase our groundwater, which many of our communities rely on. And it's an attractive yard feature that often brings in wildlife, including hummingbirds, butterflies, and bees, who also rely on this water source. And 3, it reduces erosion and flooding. To design your rain garden, you'll need to consider some important factors. Step 1. Where does the rain fall and how will it flow around your property? Is there a flat, open, low spot in your yard where you can redirect the rainwater from your roof that would normally go down the storm drain? Keep in mind that there's also surface flow in addition to the roof water. Your basin must be at least 10 feet away from your house and 3 feet away from the sidewalk, because saturating the ground around your foundation seasonally will cause the concrete to expand and contract, possibly causing cracking. Make sure it doesn't slope back toward the house or that you disturb any big tree roots. And you should never put your rain garden over a septic system. Also, consider what type of soil you have. How quickly will the water soak into your soil? This is called percolation. Find out your soil percolation by digging a shallow hole and filling it with water. If the water percolates within 30 minutes or less, you have a sandy or silty soil. You probably won't need to create a very large rain garden to soak all your water in if you have a sandy soil. But if the water takes more than an hour to drain, you have high-density clay soil, and you'll need a bigger area for your rain garden to make sure the water will be contained enough to soak in. If you have clay soil, you should increase your rain garden area and add more soil amendments like compost, pumice, or gypsum at the bottom. Then mix in at least 3 inches of compost at the top to improve drainage in your basin. So, how large should your rain garden be? Rain gardens are usually designed to hold about 1 inch of rain that comes from your roof or downspout. So you'll need to figure out how many gallons of water will come off your rooftop during a 1-inch rainstorm and make sure that your new basin will hold that amount. To figure this out, you can type in Rainwater Capture Basic Math in your search box or go to our website for a step-by-step guide. An easier way to figure this out is to make sure your basin area is at least 20% of the total catchment area, which means where the rain is falling, like your roof. Once you've determined how big your basin needs to be, you can start building your rain garden. Step 2. Building your rain garden. After you pick a spot, dig a basin that is 6 to 12 inches deep at the center. You should gently slope and mound the edges arbitrarily, creating a berm with excavated soil on a downhill slope to increase how much water it will hold. Edges with a 45-degree slope help ensure that the walls of the basin won't slough into the basin. Fill the basin with compost and soil that will promote good drainage, with at least 3 to 4 inches of mulch on top. You can direct downspouts into your basin using drainage pipes, gravel-lined ditches, or a dry creek bed. Make sure you create an overflow area to direct any excess water away from your house. This will ensure that the extra water has a way to leave your property safely. You can use rocks to armor the overflow pathway so that the force of water moving at this point won't erode the overflow and your basin. Step 3. Planting your garden. Here in San Diego, we have a Mediterranean climate, so the plants need to be drought tolerant since we usually get no rainfall for at least 6 months of the year. Native and water-wise plants are adapted to this type of cycle and do quite well with it. These plants are perfect for around the edges of the basin. The plants that you use in the bottom of the basin should be those that like to periodically get their feet wet. Do keep in mind that drought-tolerant plants usually need to be watered during the first year until they become established. For more suggestions on plants to use, visit the San Luis Rey Watershed Council's website at www.slrwc.org. The last step is Step 4, maintaining your rain garden. Every year, you should replace any lost plants or mulch, clear any weeds, prevent any erosion around edges, and make sure your overflow area is still working. Keep gutters and downspouts free of debris. Periodically reassess how well the system is functioning during a rainstorm. We hope this short video will help you start your rain garden. And remember, there are lots of different resources out there to help with your design, calculations, and plant list. Here are a few. We want to thank the California Department of Fish and Wildlife for help with funding, the California Conservation Corps for their labor, and Catching H2O for consultation and hands-on installation examples. The San Luis Rey Watershed Council thanks you for your interest and support in saving our water resources. By building a rain garden, you're truly helping the community, the environment, yourself, and your family.